Velocity has expertise in helping government agencies modernize and improve their programs for homelessness. This is an implementation we did with the Region of Peel in Canada. I'll be showing you a sandbox version of their system, which is very close to the system that's currently live at Peel. There are a few places where I've blurred the screen just to be sure we don't show any information about specific clients. The one client I will be showing you is a demo record. On the home page, you can see news and announcements that are broadcasted to community users. The left side panel has navigation links. These are dynamic based upon the profile of the user. The shelter providers can manage their inventory, which are beds, and their buildings, which are the shelters themselves, through the portal. Shelter providers can communicate securely with each other, with the agency, and with their clients using the message center. Shelter providers can perform intake from the portal or click into a specific client record to assign and discharge them from the shelter. In this example, we'll filter by the client's pending admission to a shelter and then drill into a specific record. The program enrollment record for a client captures all the information relating to the participation of a client and their family members to a program. In this example, it's the Emergency Services Program. A shelter provider can tag a program enrollment record with attributes, upload documentation, and book in or discharge family members related to the record. In this example, Mila has already been booked to a bed in the Cothrow Road shelter. Now the shelter wants to book in Mila's son, Steve. When the shelter staff member clicks Assign, all family members who have not yet been checked into the shelter appear in the list for selection. The shelter provider selects Steve. She then chooses a date for the book-in, which can be a date in the future, a shelter, and then a bed using the floor plan. This diagram makes it easy to ensure that she's picking a bed next to Steve's mother. The provider clicks Assign, and Steve is checked in and assigned to a bed next to his mother. You just saw how easy it is to check someone into the system, but it's also critically important to check people out when they leave. Otherwise, all of your reports and metrics are thrown off. In this example, Mila and her family have found long-term housing, so it's time to leave the shelter. The shelter staff member chooses the family member to check out, the date of the discharge, and submits the form. The bed assigned to Mila is now unoccupied and available for someone else. It's really that simple. You just saw how the Region of Peel is using Velocity in Salesforce to run their shelters and manage their homeless program. Now let's take a look at how the same technology can be applied in San Francisco. Here we are on an iPad, although this example would work on any mobile device. I'll start by logging into Salesforce One, the mobile application for Salesforce users. I'm going to play the role of an intake specialist at the Moscone South Drop-In Center. Now, James Forrester is a homeless veteran in San Francisco, and we have him in our system because he has stayed at various shelters throughout the city in the past. He shows up at Moscone South Drop-In and is looking for a place to sleep tonight. So I'm going to walk through the intake process with James right here on my mobile device. When I click Intake, we're taken to an intake form that is designed specifically for the needs of the San Francisco Homeless Program. The questions and the steps are all configurable, and this is just an example of what's possible, but you might have different questions and different steps in the actual process when you get to the implementation. In this case, we've pulled up James's record, so I can see all the information we already have about him. This saves me time and effort for doing data entry on the iPad and eliminates human error and fat-fingered data entry. As I walk through the screens, I might update a bit of information as I talk to Jimmy and learn more about where he's currently hanging out, where he receives services. I can update these fields. I know that he's a veteran of the Army based upon the information we have here in the system. Last night he slept at Moscone South, And I can see he's been homeless for several years. And if this information has changed, we can just update it right here on the iPad. But we'll leave it at 4 years and 7 months in San Francisco. Now, he does have a case manager assigned to him from Swords to Plowshares, so that's important information to be tracking. As we check him in, if we want, we can have the system automatically send notifications to Chris, his case manager, just so that he knows what's going on with Jimmy. Now, we've done an assessment on Jimmy in the past, in the last 30 days, so we have a recent acuity score. This acuity score is going to drive his placement on our wait list, and his score is pretty high, so that's going to move him up the wait list and help to ensure that he gets a place to stay tonight. And in fact, based on the score and the waitlist system, we'll be able to immediately assign him to a short-term placement. Before I go forward, though, I just have to certify that the information that I've collected is accurate to the best of my knowledge. And now that the system has assigned him a place, so he needs to get to the Glide Walk-In Center tonight, and there will be a spot at that shelter for him this evening. And this is a short-term placement. So again, this is just an example of what an intake process could look like. This is using some velocity technology that enables us to very quickly generate these sort of interactive, highly graphical user interfaces. And we can, again, configure this to exactly the steps and processes that you would like and deploy them on a variety of devices, whether it's mobile devices, tablets, phones, kiosks, or laptop computers.